A mother and her two daughters moved to Taipei to open a noodle stand at a vibrant night market, but family secrets and tradition test their fresh start. It debuted in the Cannes Critics Week. It was chosen by Taiwan as their Oscar pick. The look, it's shot on iPhones. I believe it was shot in July of 2022 in Taipei. It's inspired by Tsu's personal experience of using her left hand. She's been working with Sean Baker since 2004 Stakeout. In 2010, they had a script ready but couldn't get it financed, scouted locations, and kept in touch with the night market vendors. We need more films like this. I think that is a line that Ewan wanted to say, but I stole it from him.
No.
The left hand. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, you are like a left hand to me. You know, if you say someone is your right hand man, you're my left hand man, man. You just grab the things that I wanted to say. This is an amazing movie that I sort of praised coming out of Cannes. I had a great time with it there, watching it in a packed theater at like the very back end of the theater. I was like crammed into a corner and got to experience this. And it is surprisingly cinematic, right, for a film that is shot on an iPhone. That is, I feel like, dynamic in the way where the camera is constantly moving in a way that is very natural to as young as a performer as Ai Jing is. I don't know the kid in the movie. She is can't be more than like. So I was about to say 6, 7. It's like 8 years old or something.
I hate you.
I honestly, I was like, as soon as I wanted to say it, I made the connection
time.
before. No,
like last week you did this as well. Now again,
I know I'm not doing it anymore. But she is like 6, 7, 8 years old, and what, man? It is in fact, it's like the Austrian. It's actually the Austrian word of the year is 6, 7, which doesn't make any sense.
But the kids here voted this year word of the year as well.
it's spreading all over. But no, it has one of our favorite brief scenes with an animal in a movie as well. It has some great dynamics generationally from sort of young daughter to teen to the mother and her mother as well. And you feel a lot of like the sort of surrounding like cityscape and how quickly you move through that, reflected in the editing. That in this film we jump around in time quite a bit without any indication of an hour being passed or like 3 months, honestly. Like sometimes it just kind of jumps around, but it all feels very natural in the way that we follow this family returning to Taipei after having been away for a bit and trying to open a noodle stand at the night market, which you mentioned in the introduction for the film, is something that they kept going back to right after they were trying to get this movie done for a while. They had these connections, and honestly, I was wondering during the film why we spend as much time and scenes that are longer at the nightstand that didn't feel like at the noodle stand that didn't feel like they had that much of an impact. They were just also sometimes the hangout slower scenes happened there, and then the more kinetic ones happen in other places. But yeah, what did you think of Left-Handed Girl?
I love this movie. Watched it at Film Fest again. Adored it. Was very happy to see it on the big screen. I believe it's out in theaters in Belgium this week.
Oh yeah, we didn't say it's streaming on Netflix. Obviously, it's
also streaming on Netflix.
Yeah, I forgot to say that.
Yeah, I love this movie. I have a hot take.
Noodle hot take?
I think this movie is better than any of Sean Baker's movies.
Oh, that is
I know.
Straight out of the oven, you're roasting the baker.
And I will tell you why. Sue keeps this movie quite contained, whereas Sean Baker always does a huge swing between his second and third acts. In Anora, it's sort of when they go on the hunt and when the comedic bits, are starting to add up to each other. That's for me the big swing that sometimes hits, sometimes misses, and he's had it in every of his movie that I've seen. Florida Project, Red Rocket, Anora. I haven't seen Tangerine.
really quickly, I feel like this film also has way more likable characters than any of the
Yeah, fair.
Sean Baker's films, right? They're a bit.
But and the fun thing is, Sean Baker is still very much involved in this movie. I believe he is he's the
Writer, yeah.
co-producer, he's the writer, he even edited this movie.
Mm.
So he's very much involved in this one. But I think the direction and whereas this movie goes wild, or like at least out there at the right time. So like it didn't feel like a momentum break, or a something that's just out of nowhere. I mean, it's sort of out of nowhere, but it's brought in the right way. And I've never had that feeling with Sean Baker. Like, I like sometimes what he does with his swing. It just doesn't always hit. And for me, this one hit.
Mm-hmm. It's also him as an editor. Maybe he also was the composer and sound designer, or like, because he basically puts in like this sort of not a beat, like this sort of repeated melody that seems like it could have been a copy of a Mark Rober YouTube video, the dum, 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 like that. But it just kind of perfectly fits. I feel like one of the great things about Sean Baker is that he can have a long scene like the one in Enora that doesn't really break the location, but still be sort of perfectly like really well cut together from the performance that vary in like how much actual acting experience they have. And maybe that also speaks to the cinematography, that somehow that like they get what they need out of it. So it kind of works out in unison. And I think this works out here really well as well, where a lot of times they shoot it just, guerrilla style. I don't think they don't close down anything. They just kind of, I mean, in certain places, obviously, they do in the sort of
I think there are a few times
locations
where you see extras looking at the camera, or like what they're doing, but it's also quite convenient that their market like vendor thing is like placed in a side street. I think that definitely helps if you want to shoot it guerrilla style. But you were talking about the DOP, like the cinematography. I love the cinematography. There are actually two DOPs that are like Kao Tzu Hao and Shenko Shin. I am sorry if I butchered your names, but like they did stellar work.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen Taipei Suicide Story, but I think that movie is also quite well shot. One's from 2020. I've seen that one as well, and I like it's a bit more, I guess, like still cinematography. That there's not a lot of movement, and there's so much movement in Left-Handed Girl. It felt like an ever-flowing stream of just this family's life. That it felt like something was constantly happening, although there was a ton of repetition in what they're actually doing. And it sort of makes you really familiar with the dynamics that they have with each other, the sort of frustrations that don't really get addressed. And ultimately, I feel like I don't even want to say maybe some of the concluding things about this film, because I feel like a lot of people haven't seen this yet. There's only 26,000 logs on Letterboxd so far, which this should be a 100,000 logs film at least. Definitely should be up there. I'm surprised, honestly, it isn't, because Sean Baker's name is adjacent to it. Yeah. But I like the part of the name, the title giving sort of theme of this film is this youngest character who I feel like the story is ultimately about, of how you parent her, how you are there for her, who is there for her, and at a young age how she's influenced by the behavior around them. And one of the things, like her granddad is basically saying like, oh, you are using your left hand, that's bad. And what she takes away from it is that her hand is like the hand of the devil. So when something bad happens, like there's something that happens that is, she doesn't believe it straight away, but then something, happens that she's like, oh, that must have been because I used this hand. But because she's doing everything with it, as soon as something bad happens, she now believes that, oh, that must have been it. And it takes a while for others around her to notice like the sort of behavior that she has with her hand. It's just like, oh, she's just a girl doing whatever. She's just playing something, or I think what this movie does, it somehow feels like a hangout movie as well, in a way. Like the tension aren't as high, even though they are really high in the way that like we the relationships within this family who you want to be good. But then you notice like the older generation from the mom character and on her mom is honestly up there as like, you know, one of the worst movie moms of the year in my opinion. Like she's really, I really didn't like, I don't know how you felt, I really didn't like this woman. I thought she was so self-obsessed. Like in parts I was like, I understand, you know, you want some things to be about you, but I don't know, I didn't like her at all. I don't know. How did you feel?
I think every character is to like and to dislike.
Yeah.
And that's what makes them human. That's what makes them great to watch. Like I wouldn't say I straight up disliked anyone.
No, I disliked her, but maybe that's just me projecting onto.
I will say I like Johnny. Johnny, because he's a market vendor next door, right? That guy did not sell a damn thing. I don't think he made.
And he keeps giving out stuff for free as well. He's definitely. I don't know how he's making ends meet.
Yeah, but honestly, I don't really want to say much more because this movie is definitely a bit of a slice of life movie, and this movie certainly has reveals. I will say for any like one that's listening, this movie has some reveals that even I, as a movie veteran, I will say, did not see coming. So that's always great to have something like that to look forward to. Like if someone said that about a movie, I would get very excited. So I'm hereby saying it about this movie in the hope that, you know, there are people that are going to seek this movie out.
And it's a type of reveal that completely makes sense.
Yeah.
As soon as you see it and you're like, I would have never called that out. I would have never perceived or seen the movie that way.
But
and
now
then
all
I
the puzzle
rewatched
pieces
it,
are
and the
clicking
way
into
that
place. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I see it like it works out perfectly, and I think it's ultimately, to me, I was like in parts I was thinking that it's I don't really see what's the tension here. You know, sometimes it is, like you said, it is a slice of life. But then it felt like, no, it's not over dramatizing things that don't need to be over dramatized. The drama doesn't need to just be inflicted into the story for no reason whatsoever. And I can't really say it without spoiling it, but I think the center of what I think this movie ends up being about is it's great. I like it a lot. I think it has a great focus that it ends up pulling. Although I don't think there's a lot of focus pulling that happens, because I think most of it, like some of it, I think is shot on autofocus. I believe. I don't know if it was this movie, but I had some notes that like somewhere. But ultimately, I think one of the opening shots, one of the first shots is like the little kid looking through a kaleidoscope, and like the POV of that. So it's playful with perspective, with the POV of a kid, and this like uplifting percussion, like electro music that like eases you into the story. And it just kind of stays on that energy on that level throughout the whole film.
Absolutely recommend it. Probably one of the greatest. Like again, I'm gonna advocate for it because I do it every year. There needs to be an Oscar category for best animal actor.
Meerkat.
The meerkat would be in here, you know.
Yeah.
Give some recognition to these damn animals. Like I will say, the dog of Good Boy would win. Panda from The Love That Remains would be close, like second, and then you got the meerkat from The Left-Handed Girl. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I gave this movie 9 out of 10. It is one of my favorites of this year. Where it goes on the ranking, you'll see in 2 weeks.
Exactly, and I also give it a 9 out of 10, and it's one of those recommendations where you're like not wondering, when can I see it, where can I see it? Someone in your life has a Netflix subscription, even if you don't have any. And now they also have Warner Brothers. Wow, even more. But they also have Left-Handed Girl, you know? So you should go watch it there if you can.
And if it's not on Netflix, then it should have a theatrical distribution, because otherwise it will be on Netflix, I assume.
Right, yeah. I don't, yeah. Because when you scroll down on Letterboxd on the release forms and you go to digital, and it's just like it lists every country in the world for it to be on Netflix. So I don't know if they had like an international release.
Well, for me it is. So I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah, goes. I mean, it's also a movie worth seeing on the big screen for sure.
Exactly, because it's so vibrant.